Welcome back. The Scurv podcast, LANCESCURV here. Today, I was thinking about all of the jobs that I ever had. And I thought about the system, the American system, United States. And I'm quite sure what I thought about holds true in other Western countries. And it always seemed as though the one who is incompetent, stupid, favored from favoritism, nepotism, it's always a group like this that's always promoted and put over you, even though it's evident that you may know more or have more skills than that person. Now, that's not me personally saying this, as far as me being bitter because of past experiences, because whenever I was on a job, I never desired to move up and become somebody's supervisor and yield some modicum of power. I always wanted to do my 8 and hit the gate. I go to a job for money, not for any type of status. So I was never in that game. But many times there are people who work there that knew that I wasn't a dumb guy, and they knew that I can handle certain positions. And it was always asked of me, why don't you go for that promotion? Why don't you go for that position? And I said, no, I'm not interested. And that puzzled many people. And I never had a super duper great relationship with people who may have been higher ups, because they knew that I knew the game. And those who had the herd mentality, where they thought if we do this or we push hard this way, we can go higher. And I'm not going to say I made them feel stupid, but they knew I wasn't playing the game, and they always wondered why. I mean, you would think that they would feel good that I'm not trying to go into the same position as they were or try to climb the ladder. No, that was something that I always saw the game in that. I remember when I worked at Home Depot, which is definitely a corporate company, even though on the front lines you see people wearing the orange aprons. And I never understood it. You would get your review and get literally nothing on a raise. 10 cents, 15 cents. Oh, if you got 25 cents, that was something to brag about. Now, this is many decades ago, but I'm just using that as an example. But at the same time, you were expected to clap and be so joyous when you found out that your particular store made a lot of money. And back in those days, I worked at the first store that ever touched New York, and they would make over $1 million in a week, sometimes more. And people were, oh yes, we made $1 million. We what? And I get 25 cents or 15 cents on a raise? And they're looking guilty when they do it? But then your medical coverage, your health coverage goes up more than that, so you're actually losing. And the idiots who submit to being programmed robots or yes men or butt kisses, those are the ones who get the promotions and get to yield power over you. And they know they're idiots. And this is not everybody, but there's a huge amount of incompetent people who are leading the fray. You watch it happen again. Someone who clearly cannot do the job gets promoted. They miss deadlines, make poor decisions, and leave chaos behind. Everyone sees it, everyone knows it, yet suddenly they are the boss. This is what happens. Meanwhile, the person who actually keeps things running stays in the same position. They fix mistakes quietly. They carry the workload. They solve problems without recognition. Over time, they begin to feel invisible. At first, it feels unfair. Then it becomes confusing. Eventually, it starts to feel insulting. You ask yourself what you're doing wrong. You wonder if skill even matters anymore. See, I've talked to dozens, if not hundreds. I could say hundreds. I can say thousands because of social media who feel this way. And I don't know why this is. It's like the stereotypical case of you have, let's just say, I'm not saying a black man could not be in this position. I'm just saying it always seems to be a black woman. And there are black men who are in this position, meaning that, especially a corporate situation, you've been in this position for so long. It may not be at the bottom. You may have a certain level of advancement, but everybody knows in your office, on that floor, in that section, even beyond, you're known for acing it. You're known for pretty much being able to run that whole place. You've been there for a while. You know the ins and outs. You know the systems. You even know the personalities of the people who work there and how to speak to each one of them. You, in a sense, are that go-to person when anything happens, no matter who is over you. Even the people who are over you in position, they come to you, but you're never offered that position. Then they bring somebody in, somebody that later on you may have found out is related to a higher up in that company or on that job. And they ask you, oh, could you please help them and train them into how things are here? Just let them tag along with you and show them the ropes. Now, they may not say it that way, but here you are now, being studious, being a good employee, feeling as though you're doing something good that will help you down the line as far as a promotion, because you gave of yourself, you helped somebody. Well, in actuality, where are the people who are paid to train people when they first get there? They're going to use you. So in essence, they're using you, they're prostituting you because they're not giving you any more money. And guess what? This is what happens. You train them, you go over and above. And guess what? Several months down the line, always less than a year, they become your immediate supervisor. And every time something goes wrong, because you train them, they come to you. You have the experience, but they get the pay and the status. And people who don't know, people who come in after him or her, they go to them because they feel that they know everything about that place when you have taught them. And you feel as though you taught them too much, because now you see how things work and you get hurt. And I've seen people gung-ho come into companies, different companies, friends of mine, different people that I know, and they're so gung-ho about the system, the pep talk. You're family now. We're a family here. We're not just a job. We help each other here. Because if one person wins, we all win. If we all win, everybody wins. And you drop blood and guts in your ignorance and lack of seeing or discerning, my favorite word. And after a while, you either quit, you get worn down and burnt out, disillusioned, you stay there, but they got the best out of you until they find a way to get rid of you. And you see, and this is about jobs, so this could be politics, it could be anything. And you see that old janitor that's there, old black man, been there for a long time, with a toothpick in his mouth and a cap on. Nobody tells him about the cap. He's been there before everybody. So they let him slide. He'll drop little nuggets of wisdom on you when he's sweeping up in the break room and nobody else is around. He'll let you know. You see, that attitude you got there is all good, but save some for yourself. And don't expect too much here. I'm not being negative to you. Or they'll warn you about somebody who they put to be around you to find out more about your personal life. And that janitor will say, not everybody who smiles and gets around you is your friend. And that's why that janitor's been there for a very long time. And he doesn't give too much. He's not even part of the hierarchy trying to climb the ladder. I'm already retired from my other job that I've been on for 25 years. I'm only here to get a little extra paycheck to take my grandchildren out every now and then. My house is paid for, my car is paid for. I don't need it. I can walk away. It's always like that. But there's always patterns in these places. This pattern is not new. It's not personal, and it's not random. It keeps happening because of how power naturally forms and protects itself. Once you understand this, frustration turns into clarity. See, you start to know the deal. You stop expecting logic from broken systems. You stop blaming yourself or questioning yourself if you're good enough. And you begin to see the rules that were never explained to you. Incompetent people speak with absolute certainty. Capable people speak with caution. The single difference explains a shocking amount about who rises and who gets ignored. When someone understands complexity, they hesitate. They see risks. They consider consequences. That awareness naturally slows them down. When someone lacks understanding, they feel no hesitation at all. They speak boldly because they don't recognize what they don't know. People follow confidence, not accuracy. This is very important. Certainty feels comforting. It feels strong. Even when it's wrong, it feels better than thoughtful doubt. In meetings, the person who says, "This is complicated," gets overlooked. The person who says, "Just do it," gets followed. If it works by luck, they get praise. If it fails, someone else gets blamed. Confidence is easy to see. Real ability is harder to measure. So confidence keeps winning. Most systems are not built to find the best ideas. They are built to protect what already exists. Anyone who questions the structure becomes a threat. Competent people notice inefficiencies. They ask why things are done a certain way. They suggest changes. That forces leaders to admit problems. Admitting problems threatens status and comfort. Incompetent people don't question anything. They follow rules without understanding them. They defend bad decisions. They support authority automatically. They keep broken systems running just well enough to avoid collapse. When promotion decisions are made, the safe choice rises. Over time, safety becomes more valuable than ability. Remember that. This is not a secret agreement. It's self-preservation. Once an incompetent person gains power, they feel insecure, even if they won't admit it. They sense their weakness. That insecurity shapes every decision they make. When hiring or promoting, they face a choice. Surround themselves with people who might expose them, or choose people who make them feel superior. They choose comfort every time. Those people do the same when they gain authority. Each level hires someone slightly weaker. Over time, intelligence drains downward. The result is an organization filled with people chosen not for skill, but for how unthreatening they are. Problems multiply. Solutions disappear. This is how entire institutions slowly rot without ever fully collapsing. And you can smell it when you enter these systems. Most people cannot evaluate real competence. They don't have the technical knowledge, so they rely on shortcuts. Confidence becomes the substitute for intelligence. Loud becomes strong. Certainty becomes leadership. Our brains are wired this way. It once worked in simple environments. In complex systems, it fails badly. Today, the most confident voice is often the least informed. But people still follow it because confidence feels like control. That mistake repeats in offices, governments, organizations of every kind. Capable people tend to think before they act. They consider consequences. They worry about fairness. That internal process slows them down. Incompetent people don't struggle with that weight. They take credit easily. They shift blame quickly. They say what works in the moment. In systems that reward results without accountability, this lack of hesitation becomes an advantage. Ethics turn into a disadvantage. When dishonesty works, dishonest people rise. And people who lack depth often have no trouble being dishonest. Skill is easiest to measure when things are calm. In chaos, nothing can be judged clearly. Bad leaders create chaos naturally. Poor decisions lead to problems. Those problems create distractions. Distractions prevent evaluation. As long as there is always a new crisis, no one looks back at the original mistake. Everyone stays busy reacting. Constant disorder exhausts people. Exhausted people stop thinking critically. They focus only on survival. Chaos becomes armor, and incompetence hides behind it. Remember that. Most systems do not reward results. They reward appearing busy. They reward confidence without proof. They reward loyalty over honesty. Competent people struggle in these environments. They dislike pretending. They hate politics. They question authority. Incompetent people thrive. They believe their own performance. They project confidence naturally. They play power games without shame. Unless a system actively protects competence, it slowly slides towards stupidity. And most systems don't protect it. This isn't about intelligence or being rare. It's about intelligence being inconvenient. Competence challenges comfort. Incompetence protects it. Once you see this clearly, the world becomes easier to understand. Promotions stop feeling mysterious. Leadership failures stop shocking you. You stop wasting energy trying to be recognized by systems that don't value truth. You move strategically. You choose where to invest your effort. And most importantly, you stop confusing silence with insignificance. Some systems don't overlook intelligence by accident. They reject it on purpose. I'm quite sure most of you who are intelligent, who are capable, and who are highly skilled have gone through this. Overlooked intelligence is not by accident. So when you try to prove how competent you are, how skilled you are, how capable you are, you have a target on your back. And you can't figure out why a job, a company, a system doesn't want to improve. It's because of the incompetent people that are threatened by you. And this is why the incompetent people who have people, their clique, their crew, their group, it's an unwritten law. Now, you know this. You go to a job, you see a supervisor. There are multiple supervisors in different areas. I mean, you'll have to adapt this to your own situation. But each supervisor has their set of cronies. And the cronies know the cronies in their groups that they can whisper to by the water cooler, and they know the cronies in the other groups. And everybody's smiling, everybody's acting like they're working along together. But if one crony overhears something spoken about their particular supervisor that they worship and honor, they'll run back to tell them what they heard. Even if it's something partial, even if it's something not complete. Oh, I heard them mentioning your name over by the water cooler. You better watch them. They look out for their incompetent supervisors or higher ups. And it happens also with those people who are over you as they compete with the people on their level to go to the people higher than them. So it's politicking. The office politics. There's work to be done. Nobody really is pushing. It's all about positioning themselves, and it's all about survival. And especially now, in a how could I put it? A dragging job market where jobs are harder to get. You find yourself looking for a job and you'll accept less because of how it is out there. We have AI looming over the horizon like a category 10 hurricane that you know is coming, so you don't know how that's going to affect you. So there's a little fear added in, even more so. So it's very crucial these days. It's very tense. And I don't see an end in sight. You rethink your life. You got to get up in the morning time or whenever it is that you do go to work. And you have to focus on these people. You got to deal with them. It's not a pleasant feeling. You sigh when you see the door of your job. It's, oh God, I got to go in there. I don't want to go in there today. I can't take it. But you know you have bills and you have to go. This is why the whole system to me is set up to siphon your energy and keep you on that treadmill. That's just one aspect of incompetence protecting itself. You have to figure how to navigate the personalities, the scavengers, the people who don't do work. They just come to work and they do less, but because they're the crony of a person who's over you, you can't say anything about it. It's not good for your mental health. I should have titled this, Jobs Are Not Good for Your Mental Health, but you got to go to it anyway, right? But it's about these people, like I said, who are over you, and it pisses you off because they are incompetent. But the minute you stop caring, the minute you go silent, you do your job, but you're not going over and above. The minute you hit that point from within and feel that sense of calm, that you understand how that system at your workplace works, people start to notice it. They may not ask you what's going on, but they see that first bit of enthusiasm that you walked in the door with gone. You're not angry. You're not evil. You're cordial. You still speak to people, but there's something different about you. You're not running the same race that they are. And when you're not running the same race that other people are running, or whatever they honor, they want to know what's up. Like, what are you on to? And that's how I live my life anyway. And I've always been that way. And whenever I would go into a new job, no matter where it is, I knew these same factors would be at play. Some in some areas more and some less. Whenever you have people together working and there is a hierarchy and there's a positioning system, you're going to get this. Even if they just want to be closer to a supervisor or a boss, which is a word that I hate, they want to jockey for position. Also, when you have that male-dominated situation and you have the supervisor's girlfriend who nobody is supposed to know about, but you see them in the supermarket on their days off. You see them at the beach on their days off, and you pretty much figure that the reason why they don't act like they know each other as well is because they're playing the game. But you better not say anything bad about that particular supervisor that that woman is dating, because in actuality, she's the person running things. Listen, she has a death grip on this man's penis. He's running the place, but he's not going to sit here and go against the source of his pleasure, his boo, his spy, and whatever she says goes. Anybody who has a personality conflict with her eventually gets fired or let go. I just had to add that in. That's something that I've seen on many jobs. There was a situation, God, when I worked at this particular job. I'll say what it is. When I was working at Home Depot, they had a supervisor. I don't know where they brought him from. He wasn't part of the farming system. I guess he came from a different store. He wasn't in my department, but he had some type of complex where he had to yield his power, make you feel it, make you understand that he has a position higher than you. Now I'm laid back. I have nothing to prove. I'm trying to do my 8 and hit the gate. And this joker would come through the aisle and question me about things that he didn't even know about. But he wanted to show me by his flexing that he had authority. And everybody, most of the people didn't like him. He went over and above the people who were designated knuckleheads. He did it worse than them. So I worked in the floor and wall department where they have carpet, they have tile. It was mostly tile that I worked with and instructed people about. I knew a little bit about that. And one day, it was really crowded because that one New York store, at first, it was the only Home Depot in New York City. So we had people coming from Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx, even Staten Island, into Queens. And it was just maybe 3-4 miles away from my house. So I was kind of blessed to not have this big commute. But I happened to be rolling carpet this day. There was a carpet machine that you push a button and it would roll out the amount that you want. And then you cut it, you roll it up, you put it on the customer's cart. This day was a Saturday. It was almost noon. This store was packed. Everybody was there. There wasn't even enough parking in the parking lot. They allowed people to park all around the back and the side. They had security. I mean, people had to park across the street, a block away. This was mayhem. And this is the way it was on Saturdays, right? And again, this is because it was the first New York City Home Depot. This is back in the early 90s. So anyway, the carpet machine was broken. There are people tapping you on the shoulder, asking you about something on the other aisle. There are people tapping you on the shoulder, asking you about what's going on in the paint department. And I don't know anything about paint, but you can't tell them that way in a rude way. You have customers standing over you. We had to roll the carpet out from the machine, roll it out on the ground, and I had to have somebody help me. So we're doing this, and I got 5 more carpet customers. And while I'm dealing with them, I'm explaining how some of the tile stuff works, some of the mortar and the grout. I'm explaining how much, and these people don't want to read. They're asking you what's already on the box. It's hot. people's crotches are in your face because you're on your knees and you're rolling out carpet and they're looking down at you mad because you're not moving fast enough. And the people who are 5 deep, who the 5th customer that has to wait for 4 more people, they're mad because they gotta wait. You gotta be Superman. The machines to take tiles from the top that one customer wants is being used somewhere else. So you gotta go up on a tall ladder and take these heavy boxes of tiles and walk it down. Boy, they had me as a buck on that job. As a matter of fact, there are a couple of other employees there that we were kindred spirits, and we would say to each other, "Are you ready to be a buck today?" No, I never buck dance for anybody, but that's the joke because that's the way they saw us. And those of us who had intelligence, they didn't want to hear it. I got another story to tell you after that. But anyway, this guy, Robert, supervisor, you could look at him and tell he had issues. White man. He walks up. I never greeted him because he'd walk past me and wouldn't greet me. Now, you know, I can look you dead in the eye, not say anything. I can not look at you and walk past you. I'm cold like that if I have to be. And really, you don't affect me. And he didn't get any type of, "Oh, hi, Robert," or no, Wasn't disrespectful. I'm a robot. I do my job, hit the 8 and get out of there. So he comes to me to ask me why there's no coverage on the next aisle. I think the floor and wall department had like about maybe 6 aisles. And I think we only had 4 employees in that section that day. Now I have other people who maybe I didn't fare too well with them, other employees happily running over to my aisle to ask me about this other product in my section because really they weren't concerned. They wanted to add on to the stress. I'm sweating. So here comes Robert. He's walking down the aisle. He's standing behind me, so close. I'm on my knees rolling this carpet. He's standing behind me, so close that when I leaned up, he called to me. He said, "Excuse me," and tapped me on the shoulder. When I leaned up, his knee was in my back. So I think quick on my feet. I went to stand up to give him full attention, but when I did, I leaned all the way back. And it shoved him back because I didn't know who it was, but I knew who it was. So I stood up over him. I'm not the tallest guy in the world at 5'10", but he was like about 5'7". So I'm sweaty, I'm pumped. I was a little more muscular than I had stopped training in 85, but this is like 93, 94, this is 94. So I'm standing there and I'm looking at him and it's like a stare down. He doesn't want to really say anything. He just wants to challenge me. So for about 5 seconds, we're staring into each other's eyes and I look like I'm going to smash him. So he tries to reclaim some type of authority. See, with the psychological games, you're not going to win with me because I walk this way. When I'm outside of my house, this is the way I move. If I sense you coming at me a funny way, I'm ready for you. So he's staring at me and he asked me, why is there no coverage? Because we have so many customers on the other aisle. I told him, I said I would be able to answer that if I was a supervisor. I would be able to answer that if I had the power to allocate more people to that aisle, but I can't tell you why. If you look in this aisle, we have about 25 people who are standing in a line waiting for help, 5 for the carpet and all the rest for tiles. I said, that's a good question when you have your next manager meeting as to why on a busy Saturday, there's only 4 people working here. He hated it because I didn't disrespect him. But I spoke with authority and I threw it right back in his face. I said, I do not have the power to hire or fire. I wish I can help you. And I turned around and started to roll the carpet again. He couldn't stand me after that. This smart Negro, he didn't think Negro, he had the look on his face. So now it was a declared war between me and him. Nothing official that other people knew, but it was the personality conflict going on. Now his fate was sealed, and people who are like that, they always have some type of major crack in their armor because they're so busy trying to come at you. So There's a young lady there who worked there, and she was friendly with most of the people who were supervisors. A little more than usual. But we all noticed it, but she was desperately trying for some type of connection. And I know there's somebody who's going to hear this eventually and going to remember this story. Let me throw this in here to add a little more context that will be necessary later on. There was a guy who answered the phones in the back, not for customers, but just people who called in. They're calling in late. This happened, that happened. This company's calling. They're going to deliver this stuff here. They have to get ready. You know, the parking lot has to be open a certain place. There's a car blocking it. Just stuff like that. You had customer service people. So he wasn't that. So he had his own little separate room in the back where he answered phones. And he was an older guy. I know his hair was pure white. I would say he was about his late 60s, maybe 70. He was strong. I'm not saying like he was a bodybuilder or a boxer, but you can tell that he was military. I think he told me that one time. He asked me if I was military, but I'm not. It's just the way I carry myself. So he was back there and he had access to cameras. The cameras, and he had all little screens. He wasn't security, but it was good that he was sitting there instead of being in an empty room, that he was an extra pair of eyes. So forget him for now. So this young lady who's friendly with supervisors, evidently she's trying to be on a come up to get favor, a little flirtatious, a little wiggle in her walk. This little white girl, right? So it's apparent that the guy who I had a problem with, Robert, the supervisor, she latched on to him. And even though he acted distant and cold, you might see him cracking a smile with her. That was big because he never smiled. So now some of the eyes are on him, but they moved accordingly. Wouldn't you believe? Okay, her car was out of service, so he was the one to drop her home, but she never asked anybody else. Okay. Me, myself, I'm not there for that, but I'm hearing the talk. Wouldn't you believe that way over in some particular aisle, I forgot which one it was. Oh, it was the carpet aisle. And so many people had called in and they had the oriental rugs that are hanging, right? And you have to move them. You can actually open up the rugs and walk in. They're hanging open. You got to know what I'm talking about. You've probably seen it before. The man in the back answering the phone calls, the older man, he observed them going in between those carpets. Nobody now can see them. And they closed it in. So he was on a break. So he got up. He saw that it was suspicious and he walked over to that aisle and he pulled the carpets back. And the girl was on her knees and not to pray. In the store during work hours? Work hours are not. And you are two employees there and you're a supervisor that not many people like? Are you serious? So they were busted. And the old guy took his lunch and he went back again. And when he saw Robert, the supervisor, he said, listen, now this is one of these old white guys who they do not play. Ethics is their thing. They play by the rules. They're fair. And they will give you a warning. And they'll be brutally honest. And this man was exactly that. Textbook. So he tells Robert, he says, listen, I can report this and get you in big trouble. I can report this and get her in big trouble. But man to man, I've been a man all my life. And I might like the same things you like, but I'm wise. And that was very foolish. I'm not trying to yield any power over you, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to let this slide. I'm not going to document it. But if on my watch, as I sit here and know that I'm not coming after you, but we can't have that here. As a man, we can't have that here. It could have been a child that walked down that aisle and pulled back that carpet and saw what I saw. You better get your act together. And you know how you stand here with so many of the employees. That's your own personal issue to adjust your attitude here. I am not your supervisor. I'm not under you, but I'm a man who's older than you, and you need to straighten up. So Robert, from what I heard, didn't say much. He didn't admit to anything. I mean, he didn't have to because the old guy saw. But he still was gallivanting with the girl. But they took their stuff off of the workplace, out of the workplace. But they were more visible out of the workplace. Everybody saw them. I mean, that's their own personal business, but you got to understand how people are. They're going to gossip, they're going to talk, they're going to compare notes. So it happened that they continued on for months with their romance or indulgences of lust. And Robert found out that she had taken on another partner while still being with him. It didn't lessen the intensity of what they were doing. She just wanted a little bit more. But he should have known that with the type of woman that she is, right? So he went and put his hands on her because of that. I mean, this is not a relationship where they're committed to each other. This was one of those type of things. They begin, they end. They fade in, they fade out. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not condoning or I'm not knocking. This is just how human beings do. When it begins to fade out and you caught feelings, you're going to have to deal with that. You better know what it is. It was a little fun that you considered fun at that particular point in your life. You enjoyed yourself. People move on. That's just how it is. Now I can understand if it was a marriage or even they were boyfriend and girlfriend and committed to each other between themselves. That's a different story. Then you can allow your feelings into this. But he had no right to put his hands on her that way. Just leave her alone. There are a lot of women out here. You don't get caught up in anybody like that again, unless it's your wife or a dedicated relationship. Well, she knew people, and she didn't report it to the police. She just recruited people from her circle. I don't know whether it was family, blood family, or friends, or other people who were potential partners who wanted to get some of the cookies and felt that if they did her this favor, they might hit the jackpot. I don't know. But they found him somewhere, not at the job, and they beat the mess out of him. They beat him down. They beat him down so bad. The police had to get involved, but they didn't know who these guys were. He had an understanding that she ordered the hit, but could he prove it? And if he proved it, it would reveal what he did to her. He beat her down. I'm not saying there's a way to beat a woman, right? You don't beat women. You don't put your hands on them. That's something that I've never done and I will never do. Walk away. But when I'm going to say it in a way that seems as though I may be condoning it. No. But if you're going to beat somebody, don't beat them in their face. Beat them in their body. I mean, that goes to anybody. I mean, a man to man, yeah, you can hit him in the face, body, anything if you're defending yourself. I'm big on defense. I'm not going to start anything. I'd rather you take a swing on me as a man, so I have a right to do whatever it is I want to do to you. He beat her all in her face. It was evident. She had to take days off from work, come to work with the sunglasses, and to her close friends, oh, my boyfriend smacked me, and I'm not going to press charges. But they didn't know that it was Robert. And they didn't know if she had a boyfriend outside or not. Anyway, he had to spend a couple weeks in the hospital. And the missing piece of this story is that he had a wife. And the wife realized when the whole story came out why he got the beat down. And it came out that he put his hands on the young lady, and it didn't look good that she didn't press charges, but she had to now. His wife left him, and he ended up becoming incarcerated. I don't know how long, but you see the arrogance of somebody who really, he was incompetent, but he was arrogant. He was very confident in his arrogance. If he took more time to just focus on his job, instead of showing the world his insecurity and trying to inflict his ego on other people, he would have did better. And because of his insecurity, because that's what it was, that opened the door for him to accept the attention that he was getting from this woman who gave it out evenly. You know, she was trying to give the cookies away to whoever would take it. And the other guys, the other supervisors may have flirted back a little bit, but they were smart enough to stay away from that trap. Robert was a fool, and he took the dive head first, and look where it landed him. Karma? I believe so. Because when you have a personality like that, and people deal with you and rub you the wrong way, usually that's not the first time they've done that. They've done this before. And people like that end up alone. So when you deal with somebody like that, I'm not saying defend yourself, but understand the weight of karma, the balance of the universe. It's definitely going to take care of them. It may not be as fast as you may want it to happen, but it's going to happen. So this is why when you get on these jobs, and you may not have experienced something as extreme as that, as far as a situation, because I was a lot younger then. I was going to visit him in the hospital. But that would have showed him that maybe he affected me more, and he really didn't. But I thought about it, but I'm not going to take over the job of karma. I'm going to let it work itself out. You just have to nod your head. You just have to shake your head sometime, because some people never learn. But the bottom line is, like the title says, incompetence protects itself. How stupid people keep getting promoted. Your personality and how you live your life determines how far you'll go. Yes, there will always be mishaps that may pop up, but we put ourselves in certain positions that are unnecessary. And you have to understand that when you get on these jobs and get in these systems, like I said, it doesn't have to be a job. It could be the political arena. It could be the hierarchy in a church. Same thing goes on in the church. The church is not about being holy. The church is a business. Don't let me get started on that. The same rules apply. You have people who want to be seen. They want position. They fight for position. You have the cronies. You have the gossipers. You know what? Really and truly, and I ask myself, I'm not even asking myself, I'm just saying it. All of that for what? All of that for what? Leave all of that alone. Do what you have to do to support yourself. But I have no energy, not one iota, to give people in the system that the energy invested is not going anywhere. It's not doing anything for me. Ego, I'm confident. I feel as though I'm very skilled and confident. I have nothing to prove. If another person doesn't feel that way about themselves, that's their problem. But do understand, incompetence wrapped in false confidence, they will get people to champion who they are. It does look good when you're confident. Nobody questions what's below the surface. So understand that. Don't try to convince anybody who is not good or who is not smart. Eventually, you'll see who's who. You may not be around, you may have moved on. How many times have you known of a situation in a job, in a political system, at the church, and you moved on? Say you didn't get fired, you just moved on. You found something better for yourself, or you relocated, whatever. And you're in contact with someone, not all, every day, but maybe you're on Facebook and they shoot you a note and they say, hey, remember the person you had a problem with? That one you didn't like? Do you know what happened with them? And it's this long story that fits the profile of who you've known them to be. It always happens. See, we call down situations on ourselves depending on the type of energy that we have. It happens in the world, it happens in nature. Say, for example, you don't always coming up with something off the cuff. You come over and visit. We're here in Scurv Media Studios. We go out in the back early that day and you chop up one of the watermelons. You eat half of it. It was so good, an hour goes by, you eat the next quarter. And 3 hours go by, you say, let me finish this thing off. And we're hanging out here doing work in the studio on the computers, editing and talking and playing a little music. And you go over by the couch and you say, listen, I'm gonna close my eyes a little bit, lay down for an hour and I'm gonna get back to work. Okay, no problem, because I like to work. I like to work. I like people who do work too. So now I'm here the same way. I'm up and they wake up scratching themselves, scratching their legs and arms. And I'm like, are you okay? They're like, man, the mosquitoes tore me up. They didn't bother you? I said, no, I didn't get one mosquito bite. I always wear shorts and t-shirts, so I'm exposed a little bit, at least on my legs and arms. Wait a second. The mosquitoes didn't bite you? You know why it bit you up? Because you ate that watermelon and you have all that sugar in your system. They were attracted to the sugar in your system. You were an all-you-can-eat meal. Me, I wasn't. Well, why am I saying this story? To back up the fact that the energy that you possess, what's in you, is what attracts other energies to you. Let's just say it. If you are a prick, you're not going to get people to like you. Not that that should be anybody's goal. Oh, I want people to like me. You really shouldn't care. But the people who would like you, if you weren't a prick, who might like you, they won't like you. You won't get favor with them. You understand? So while that was a physical example, it works in the spiritual realm the same way. The other day when I was walking down the street, I was down in the city. There was a gorgeous woman. And I'm not saying that out of the spirit of lust. I'm just saying it is what it is. Even some of the other young ladies that were walking by, they looked, it was a stunned look because this lady was very attractive. And when she walked toward me and I looked in her eyes briefly, I caught a chill. Not being judgmental, but I downloaded partially her spirit. And this is why I don't like eye contact. I do not want to download all kinds of energies. I'm not scared. I'll look you in your eye and deal with you when I'm emitting my energy to let you know, this doesn't intimidate me. But I saw how much she was a control freak. I saw how much she used her beauty to seduce, not seduce sexually, but to seduce men who may have thought on a sexual level, but for her it was power and control. And I'm going to need you later on. I'm going to use you later on. So I'm going to gaze at you in a seductive way and make you really think that you're going to get these cookies eventually. That's how manipulation works. And I just cut the gaze and I kept on walking. And it's something how with certain people you can pick these things up easier. It depends on how clear your mind is and how meditated. I didn't say medicated, I said meditated, if that's a word. How meditated, how far you're gone with your inner peace. Not far gone, but just how deep you are in it. It all depends. Energy, there are all kinds of energies around us, all kinds of energies. And we don't realize that we walk all out in the street, go to these jobs and don't know what's around us. How many times have you known someone? I'm going to wrap it down soon. But how many times have you known someone? Not really even good, but you've exchanged pleasantries. They may live in your building or in your neighborhood and you see them. Hey, they know you, you know them. You might even know their name. You might be in the supermarket checkout line. They might have drove you home one time. And you find out that they're a serial killer. You find out that they did something so bizarre and so strange, and now you go back to what you've known about them. And it's like they were so normal, they were so nice. How about the man that seems to have it all? He has a nice big house. I mean, a big house. Several children that are well cared for. A wife that's a professional, but doesn't have to work outside. She can work through home. She does stuff through the computer. They have help in the home, a maid, right? Several cars, top of the line. He has a position where he's so respected and he's making so much money, and what he makes is public because he's such a public person who in the corporate world, let's just make this up. He seems to have it all. You admire them. You see them going to church. You see them going on trips. You see them at home, working in the yard. They have people that come and take care of the yard, but sometimes you see them doing it together as family. The kids are happy. And then one day, and this is a true story, but I can't recall where, and this has happened several times, but there's this one story many years ago where this man one day got up, shot his kids, his children. They were sleeping, shot them all in the head. There were screams from the other children that woke up that didn't get that treatment yet. The wife got it last because she came into the room hysterical. He killed her and he killed himself. A black man on top of the world from what you can see. But what was going on inside of him that the world didn't know? So you can't assess. You can't assess, or you can judge. You can try to judge, but judging is when you really don't know. Even when you think you've assessed the person and know what's in their heart, aside from those who snap, right? You just don't know. So don't take things on face value. Really and truly, know yourself, navigate, discern, and protect yourself and your peace at all times. It always seems like I'm coming down to that, protecting your peace, protecting your sanity. Because we have so many energies around that will come around you with certain intent and will rock your world and have you out of your mind to a point. And I'm realizing that more and more. I'm not letting anybody feast on me and my energies or inoculate me with their toxic energy. See, to disrupt your world because they can't stand to see you living peaceful, living balanced. No, I reject all of that. I have many situations in this present timeline of mine that I'm rejecting because I already see the intent. Want to get around you and see your situation and go back and gossip. Nah, it ain't gonna happen. They might listen to this and figure, oh damn, he discovered me. I got certain things going on right now and I'm right on top of it. Protect your peace at all times. Anyway, I enjoyed this. I know I was all over the place for a while, but I hope you got something from it. Leave a little comment. Let me know what part you liked or what you want me to talk about, and we'll continue to flow and to be consistent. And I thank you very much for that. LANCESCURV out. On to the next one. I love you all. That's why I do this. This brings me great joy. Take care. Peace.